Hello, JUSTJEM here and welcome, or indeed welcome back to my channel. It's new makeup time. I appreciate that I haven't uploaded a video for a while. I've just been getting slammed, but I'm here now and it's new makeup time, so that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to swivel. Never gonna get old, this swiveling malarkey, never, just saying. And I'll get stuck in. I don't think there's as much as normal, she says. But watch it be a stupidly long video anyway, because that just seems to be how it works out these days. Let's start with Simply Posh Cosmetics Gingerbread Bakery, and that's retailing for $55. Or if you convert that to pounds, it's $41.79, but let's face it, that's not going to be what it is. It's going to be way more than that by the time you've added on shipping and all the rest of that jazz. When I first saw this, obviously they do the reveal in stages, don't they? They show packaging, maybe a shade or two, that kind of thing. I thought the packaging was cute. I did like that. And then the initial reveal, I thought, oh, I quite like that. I'd quite like that. It's a bit of a different take on Christmas. It's going down the bakery gingerbread route. And it's got some pastels in there, and then it's got some brown tones in there. And I thought, that's not bad, actually. That's not bad. I could be on board with this. Sinai Reviews swatches, they do it justice. Like on her skin tone, it does look good and it appealed. And then I saw Deandra's swatches and I was immediately turned off. I just don't think those pastels do enough on a deeper skin tone, which was a little bit disappointing, but I probably should have guessed this, because one of my issues with Simply Posh, and one of the reasons why I've not gone ahead and bought a palette thus far, is because it tends to be very light to mid with not enough depth. And really, when I looked at that, I should have known that that would be a classic kind of colour story where that would be the case. I just thought that it could work, or maybe this was an occasion where it made sense because of the fact it has pastels, but I just don't think that those pastels look good on a deep skin tone. I think there's too much white base in there. So while originally looking at and thinking, ooh, maybe, it went to a very no from me. Byredo, and I know what you're thinking, haven't we just had a Byredo palette? And I think, did I mention this in my last video? I'm not sure now because I can't remember if the footage, how much footage had been released. But we have seen more at this point. And it's one of those, it's almost the opposite of the Simply Posh effect actually, where I saw it initially and I thought, no thanks, I don't think so. And the more I saw it, under different lighting and not photoshopped to within an inch of its life, but looking how I imagine it would look in real life in the images I was seeing, it started making me go, oh, okay. So now I'm in this, I don't know if to get Bibliophilia, skip that one and just wait for Vesuvio, which is the name of the next one. It's based on, the inspiration is Mount Vesuvius. Now I don't know what I want to do, but knowing me, I'll probably end up with both, assuming Bibliophilia doesn't sell out on me. Maybe I should order that sooner rather than later. But I don't think it's going to be a long wait for Vesuvio. I think they're going to go back to the spring launch, so I think this is going to be a spring 2026 release. One of the main issues I have with it, which might be what puts me off, is there's a lot of silver in there, and a bit like Bibliophilia, I don't know how much variety there is. I think there's a little bit more than in Bibliophilia. I think there's a little bit more to work with, but I do wish some of the silvers in there had been substituted out for other shades. I think it could have been a more well-rounded colour story, but there is something about it that I do quite like. one of the reasons why I'm thinking I might skip Bibliophilia is because it's got a hint of Bibliophilia in there. And it also reminds me a little bit of... It's almost a cross between maybe Kalahari and Bibliophilia. This could be tempting, and there's time here. There is time. I can chop and change. I can think about this. Now I know what it looks like. I've got a lot of time to think. I've got until like March next year, I should think. So I can probably chop and change. It's Bibliophilia that's more urgent, that I need to decide if I want it. I don't know the price point, but if I'm going off previous palettes, it's going to be £92 to £100 or $115. Not cheap, but if you saw my Danessa Myricks Lightwork 7 review, which was super late, really late, but if you did happen to catch that, I did some price comparisons and was very pleasantly surprised at the value of Byredo palettes. So that's worth checking out, just to find out a little bit more with some price comparisons with some limited edition yearly palettes that have released. That might tip the scale for me on getting Bibliophilia and then securing Vesuvio when it does launch. ABH Haze. Now, at this point, I think I might be very firmly anti-ABH. I think it's going to take something incredible for them to launch for me to be remotely interested. But I can't help but look at this and think, isn't that just a poor condensed imitation of the Etherealize palette, the Moonlight one that Makeup by Mario did? And also, if you like that and you're on a budget, just get Smoky from Beauty Bay instead. Like, if I remember, which is highly unlikely, but I will link the Scratch That Itch I did where I used Beauty Bay Smoky to dupe Etherealize Moonlight. And I don't see why you couldn't use that to dupe Haze from ABH as well. It's a no from me, in case you hadn't guessed. No. I don't know what the price point will be, but again, based on their recent, unimpressive, underwhelming 9-pan palettes that they've come out with, it'll probably be around the £30 mark. But no. No. Profusion x Harry Potter. I think if we all had £1 or $1 for every brand now that's done some kind of collaboration with Harry Potter, we would perhaps be as rich as J.K. Rowling is. It's at the point now where even if you were an avid Harry Potter fan, you would probably scroll on by because enough is enough. How many Harry Potter makeup collections do you need? And the thing is, there've been that many that even if someone were now to drop a collection that is the bee's knees, the dog's bollocks, it's likely to get completely overlooked because the market for makeup alone is saturated, but the market for Harry Potter makeup, and I think Twilight is close behind, as well as another IP I'm going to mention coming up. Harry Potter has just been done today. It's been Avada Kedavra. I'm sorry, it has been Avada Kedavra. We do not need any more Harry Potter inspired makeup. There is not a universe I can dream up where we would need more Harry Potter inspired makeup. And when I did look at it more closely, meh. The Hedwig bag looks kind of tacky, to be honest, and cheap. Profusion is perhaps not known for its luxury, so maybe I shouldn't expect anything else. The palette looks meh. I mean, there are some brushes where it's 4 brushes and they're the house colours. I suppose that's remotely a little bit clever, I don't know. And would I say reasonably priced, or would I just say cheap? Christmas at Hogwarts 16 shade palette, $15. Holiday night set, $17. Hogwarts Holiday Countdown 12-day advent calendar, $25. I mean, there's an extensive list, and I wouldn't want any of it. Not even if money were no object. And that's saying something because it's cheap. No. Next, so we've got two releases from Klarity Cosmetics. One is The Other Side, which is a 12 pan... How do I describe this? It's got blue, it's got purple, it's got green, and it does look kind of nice, to be fair. Decent level of depth. Not bad, not bad. $49. And then when it's converted to pounds, it's $37.77. But a bit like what I said with Simply Posh, by the time you've added shipping and everything, it'll be way more than that. This would be... yes, if money were no object. Klarity Cosmetics is not a brand I've tried yet. I've seen products from them, a lot of products from them at this point that I've caught my eye. You know, definitely made me pause and investigate further. This is nice. I do like this one. It's got some nice vibrancy to it. It looks like it's got good range. I wonder if it would be on Monolith. And if it is on Monolith, so at the time of filming this, it's not Sunday yet. And Sunday is when Monolith's Black Friday sale starts, where I think they're going to have at least 25% off most of the inventory, apart from the launch that they're dropping that day and the previous launch, I believe. So this wouldn't be included. But I could keep an eye out on this. That could be something I could put down on a list and purchase when I know a friend is coming over, or if I know I'm going to the States. That is an option. The other release from Klarity is called Pure Petals. And this is, I mean, would I say they'd pair well together? Again, it's got blue, purple and green, but different tones. And the thing that, I don't know why brands can't stick to one format. And if you're going to do different formats, maybe stick to two. It irritates me when brands sometimes change up how they do their palettes. Like Gourmand Girls seem to have quite a few different formats that they use, and this Klarity Cosmetics one, like The Other Side, is a 12 pan, sort of larger rectangle leaning more towards square, and then this looks more... This is longer, isn't it? A bit like the Gourmand Girls, like Trapped or Nevermore palettes. But this is nice. I think I might like Pure Petals more. Ooh, I don't know. Pure Petals or The Other Side. Ooh, no, I don't know if I can decide off the cuff. I'll have to think about that one. And this is the same price, and it's coming out on the 28th of November. I believe The Other Side is already out, but Pure Petals is coming out a bit later. Probably a yes if money were no object to both, but realistically, probably no to both of them just because of the costs involved. But I think they're both really nice. I do. Glisten Cosmetics have been teasing an eyeshadow palette for a little while now. Not so long that you'll have already lost interest in it, but enough to make you want to keep your eye out for when it does eventually launch. And it has launched now. It's £45 and it's 12 shades. Can you guess what I'm going to say about this palette? I can't tell if I like this or not, colour story wise, because I'm too distracted by the packaging, both the colours involved and the quirky shape. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my head around that shape enough to potentially fall in love with the colour story and then purchase that palette. I don't know if this is magnetic. That could help. And I've never been one to desire a magnetic palette, like actually want one. I can take it or leave it. I'm warming more to the idea of BYOPs, but I think this would have to be magnetic so that I could take them out and put them in a square or rectangular Z palette, because I couldn't cope with that shape. How would you store it? How does it come boxed? Does it come boxed? I don't know. If you've bought it already and you know, please let me know, because I'd be curious. But the shape, guys, I don't think I can do it. And I have seen Deandra's swatches, and it does look like it could be alright. I just don't know. And 45, is that a lot for 12 shades? It might be a lot for 12 shades. But there are discount codes knocking about. And I say that, and I do actually have a discount code with Glisten Cosmetics, and it's just_gem1, which is just my handle. So if you were thinking of getting it, you could use the code. Could I use the code? I don't know. Can I use my own code? Is that maybe that's an ethics question. I don't know. So you can use the creator's 20% off code, or depending on how much your order is, you could use the code SAVE25, because that would get you 25% off, I think, if you're spending over 50 quid. Black Friday's around the corner. I don't think this would be included. I don't know what kind of Black Friday sales Glisten does. I'll be keeping an eye out. I might wait for reviews on this one. This is not something I'm going to be buying immediately, if at all. I just don't know if I can deal with that shape. I can't do it. I don't know. If I see people using it and raving about it and saying it's the best eyeshadow palette that they've ever seen, maybe I can get around that. You know, I can learn to cope. Or maybe it's one of those palettes that I would just have to destroy if it's not magnetic to get the pans out. Maybe that's it. But again, £45 I think for 12 shades. I think that might be on the pricey side. So the jury's out on that one, and I'm going to wait for other people's reviews before I make a call on that. But I'm leaning more towards no. Melt Cosmetics x Edward Scissorhands. Have I seen the film Edward Scissorhands? I think I've seen bits and pieces, because it's Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder, I want to say. And he does the ice sculpture snippy things with his scissor hands, doesn't he? I don't know if I understand the colour story in relation to the film, and maybe it's because I haven't seen the whole film, or perhaps because maybe I have seen the whole film but it's been so long ago. But to me it almost seems too bright. I'd imagine something much darker overall, and maybe it's going with the icy wintry feel of it, you know, like that scene where he is doing the ice sculptures. Perhaps that's the main inspiration for it, but I would have thought it would be something that would run deeper. And while I'm not saying that a palette has to have a black, if ever there were a time for a black to be in a palette, I would think it would be in an Edward Scissorhands collab. I think even if they'd thrown in a pink in there, I think a pink in there would make sense. Doesn't someone have like really blonde hair and a pink dress in it? The palette itself is $48 and it's 8 rich winter inspired shades. So yeah, maybe it is a winter palette, you know, we are heading into that season, so perhaps that's it, the wintry element of the film is the inspiration. Because You Ask Me To blush, $24, 2 Perfectionist lip pencils, $19 each, I'm Not Complete and We're Not Sheep, 2 Slick Waterline eye pencils, $19 each, Garden Sculpture and Touch of Lavender, 2 eyeshadow sticks, $22 each, It's Cold Outside and Scissorhands, 2 sheer lipsticks, $22 each, Winsome Wahini and Bamimi Bliss. I'm guessing that would mean something to someone who's watched the film. The Creeps Spiky Lashes, $13, inspired by Edward's famous haircuts, or infamous haircuts. Hold Me makeup bag, $58, black faux pebbled leather. Silicone handheld mirror, $25. Sheer Heaven lash scissors, $15 with detachable dino and melt charm. Full collection, $225, and that launched on November 10th. No, I wouldn't get this. You'll have to let me know what you think of Melt cosmetics these days, because I know there was a time when everyone raved about them, but isn't that one of the brands that people started finding mould in their products after a period of time where you would not expect to find mould on your eyeshadow palettes? And I hear that their quality was a bit hit and miss, and I don't know if that's still the case or if they have improved, but that's something that maybe put me off trying the brand, just because I had heard that negative feedback in the past. That doesn't mean I wouldn't try them at all, but I think I'd want to wait for a colour story that is a bit more unique, not something I could potentially dupe. And even as someone who does love blue and purple, these are all tones I would definitely have. I'm sure I've got these colours already. So interesting collection. But no. Trixie Cosmetics has teamed up with Katya, and as part of like the Trixie Cosmetics brand, they've done like a Christmassy launch. And if Trixie Mattel and Katya were gonna do a Christmas collab, this is it. This is exactly, I think, what a lot of people would have imagined. So you've got the very pinky palette that is more Trixie influenced, and then you've got like the dark vampy colour story, which is obviously the Katya palette. And then you've got various different options that you can get with items of the collection. So I believe there's a mirror, there's a twinkle powder highlighter, there are 2 buttercream lipsticks, one's a Trixie one and one is a Katya one. Each of the palettes are 9 pans and they're $40 each. There's a Nice and Naughty blush, so that's both of them, and Krampus life-size lashes. And then you've got the bundle where you can get Trixie's bits, and that's $64, or Katya's bits, and that's $60. If this came to Beauty Bay, I would pick up some bits, I think. I'm not even a pink lover, but there is something about this collection that I really like, and I've been loving the marketing and the videos and things on Instagram. I've been really enjoying those. Would I get both lipsticks? I don't know, I could be tempted by both lipsticks, because I think Trixie's one with a liner, I think that could be nice, I think to a lot of the stuff in here, I would say yes if money were no object. Maybe palette-wise, I think I might skip Trixie only because I've got plastic, and I think you could use plastic from Blend Bunny to dupe that. You might even be able to dupe a little bit of the Katya palette actually, but then I don't know if you could dupe the Katya palette with something like Sinister, maybe. So I don't know if maybe I wouldn't get either of the palettes actually because of that. But the lipsticks, I do like those lipsticks. And that highlighter does look kind of cool. I don't think I'm fussed about the blush. But I love how camp the whole thing is. I love it, I do. And I think realistically the things that I'm most drawn to and I would most likely actually buy is the lipsticks. So I'll keep an eye out to see if it comes to Beauty Bay. I'm not holding my breath because while Beauty Bay seems to stock Trixie Cosmetics products, I don't think they get new things. When I checked the other day, because I was intrigued by the Queen Pin palette, the bits I saw were pretty old from Trixie Cosmetics, which is a shame because I think I would be inclined to buy more from the brand if it was more easily accessible. If money were no object, I think I'd buy most of it. Realistically though, the lippies and maybe the highlighter. Beauty Bay Midnight is back. At last. I think we've been clamouring for that for the longest time. I feel like the cries for Midnight were louder than Wilderness, but I don't know if that's because I finally got hold of Wilderness, so I no longer heard the noise about that. I was only hearing the noise about Midnight, partly because I was part of the crowd making that noise. I'm not buying it yet. I'm going to wait until it's an offer, and it may take a bit longer. I suspect one of the reasons why we've been having quite frequent £10, £42 palettes is because they're trying to get rid of them for the rebrand that they've done. So it might be a while until Midnight is a tenner, but I've waited this long for it to come back. I can sit tight. If I hear murmurings it's going to get discontinued again, I will of course snap it up. But because they've just brought it back, I suspect it'll be around for a little while. It might be something I'll wait till maybe it's 15 quid, just in case. But I'm not getting it yet. Yes, but not yet. And it's worth noting as well, some of the shade names are different. I don't know if that means the shades have changed at all. One thing I'm going to do at some point when I have the time is to see if anyone, for whatever reason, has bought the new one when they have the old one and has done side-by-side comparisons. I would imagine that the only differences would be because one is old and one is new, so I would imagine the pigment in the newer one is going to be better. So I don't know if the shades have changed at all, but some of the shade names have. Oden's Eye Ice Crystals. No. It's in that weird format that other palette was called. It was two halves, and I don't know why they did that, because it ended up being this unwieldy palette that there was just so much space wasted. It could have been more condensed, and I just don't think you need that many shadows. And the same thing with this, what is it called? Ice Crystals. I think there's a lot of duplication in that. A lot's a bit extreme, but there are these two grey tone shades. I'll just circle them. Don't think you need both of those. There are two purple shimmers. Maybe the textures are different. I don't know, but do you need both of those? Probably not. And and apart from those two grey shades which look basically identical, I mean, on the eye, are you really going to be able to tell the difference? No depth. Gem the broken record, but there's no depth in that. I don't think I'd be able to use that alone. I think I'd have to reach into something else. And for a palette of that size, you shouldn't need to reach into something else for a complete look. And for the kind of look that I would want, I wouldn't get a complete look out of that. And it's $56.90. No. That's in dollars, by the way. No. Not even if money were no object. I don't even think I would want it if someone handed it to me for free, to be honest. It might be something I'd immediately re-gift, because I just don't think I would use it. I would never reach for that. Too much dead space and not a colour that appeals to me at all. No. Glamlite. So the same way that we probably don't need another Harry Potter collection, I'm not entirely sure we need another Bratz collection. And didn't Glamlite already do a Bratz collection? Am I imagining that? I'm going to have a quick Google. One moment, please. Maybe I'm imagining it. But I could have sworn that Glamlite already did some kind of Black Bratz collection. Or is it that they were teasing it ages ago? Maybe that's what it is. I think they were teasing it what felt like a lifetime ago, but then in between they've dropped the Saw collection and other things. That might be what it is, because when I saw it I thought, haven't they done this already? Where Glisten have done it quite well, where they've been teasing the fact that an eyeshadow palette is coming, but enough for you to follow the thread. I feel like Glamlite teased that they were going to do a Bratz collab, just kind of put it down, did some other things, and it's as if they kind of go, oh crap, we said we were going to launch a Bratz collection, we better go back to that, and then they've just dropped it. Very odd. And I don't know how I feel about this collection. I don't like the palette. Again, a bit like the Oden's Eye one, the packaging is just wholly unnecessary. It's like this chunky box, and considering it's a 12 pan... No, it's not 12 pan, it's a bit more than that, isn't it? 20 pan. It's a 20 pan palette, but it's in this box with a drawer. I guess if you're a person who collects makeup for display purposes that maybe looks aesthetically... Well, I don't know if I'd say that was aesthetically pleasing. It looks a bit tacky. The top drawer, that bottom row of mattes, I don't think I'd like any of those. None of them whatsoever. I think if I were to cover that up, yeah, that's infinitely better. I've put my finger over those mattes and already that palette has elevated a lot. I don't like those mattes. But one could argue that some people would like those tones for blending out and bases and stuff, but I'm quite happy to use a deep shade if I need to and sheer it out and then apply more to get more than to use what looks like pretty dusty. I wouldn't even call those pastel because they just look meh. No. I don't have any prices yet. I think it's possibly because they haven't done with like revealing the whole collection. I think towards the end they'll do a picture that has the whole collection and they'll list everything that you've got available. I know there's some lip kits and obviously the palette. I'm not sure what else is involved yet. And I'm not sure how convinced I was about the lip kits either. They've got a video, I'll show them both back to back, but I watched the video of the deeper skin tone model and she kept saying, oh, and we've also added in like the kit that's got the deepest liner, because with a deeper skin tone, to make it work on you, you need that liner. So they kept having to dip into that liner, which isn't a bad thing per se, but to me it almost highlighted the fact that they aren't all super inclusive, which is fine to an extent. You can't always cater for everyone depending on what you're doing. At least they have a lip kit which on its own would suit someone with a deeper skin tone, Singe Beauty. But I don't know if I like any of those kits. I don't know if any of them are colour combos I would use. I'm not sure. I do think they all look better once you put the gloss over the top though, I'll give it that. And I don't know if that brown liner that they keep going back to add the depth that you kind of need is deep enough for me. I think it could have done with a brown line that was even deeper than that. You know, if you're going to throw in a brown liner that you're going to have to keep using with all of the kits to make it work on a deeper skin tone, just make it deeper. And then all the kits are a bit more universal. Yeah. But then, yeah, it might be a personal preference thing, but I'm not sold on this Bratz collection. I was more sold on the Saw collection. I'd buy more from that, absolutely. But that's the thing sometimes. I think Glamlite can be a bit hit and miss. I think when it comes to these collections they do, when it's like in collaboration, which obviously a lot of their palettes are, sometimes they really nail it. Like they really, really do. And other times you're like, eh? And I think this might be more towards the eh. aside. No, I don't think I want any of that. No. Poppy and Fluff Cosmetics Wish Upon a Snowflake. When I saw this, I immediately thought it looked like a bit of a condensed version of Beauty Moon Cosmetics Ice Maiden palette. And I'm going to say it again. I don't think it goes deep enough. Like, why do they do this? Night Sky could be a deeper blue. I do think it could be a deeper blue. And then I think they could have perhaps thrown in like a deeper green. I know why there's a white matte in there. Like, I know why. Like, I'm looking at the colour story. It's an overall appealing colour story. It makes sense. I get why Snowman is there. But for me personally, I would ditch Snowman and I would put in a shade like Family, that teal shade, but deeper. And then we'd be talking. Then I might be interested. Let's wait for more swatches. Maybe this could be one of those palettes where it swatches a bit deeper than it is. Who knows? I'll wait for swatches, I'll wait for reviews, and I'll have a think then. I hear good things about Poppy and Fluff Cosmetics, but there hasn't been a colour story yet that has sort of drawn me in. And I don't know, even if those changes were made for this palette, I don't know if I would do it again, because I think I could dupe this if I wanted to. It's £28. On a sale maybe, if I've seen people use it and they like it and they say that the quality's high, that could be something I would consider later on down the line. Not that I think £28 is unreasonable, but it's not something I'd want to pick up now. No. And while speaking of Christmas-themed UK brand drops, Beauty Moon Cosmetics have released Mistleglow, and this is a limited edition Christmas palette. When I first saw this, I wasn't sure, and a bit like the Byredo palette, this is growing on me. And it has the depth. Looking at it, I would say it has the depth. And it has that Christmassy vibe. It's got like those Christmassy reds and greens. It's got a bit of burgundy in there. There's a mustardy tone. I'm not sure about that mustardy tone. I'd swap that for something else. But as a colour story, on the whole, that's not bad. I think it's also got a white matte. I don't like white mattes. I mean, I guess you can use it as an inner corner highlight. But on the whole, I'm just not keen on white mattes. I'm not fussed. This could be tempting, this Mistleglow. But as I mentioned before, it does infuriate me when brands do not stick to one format. Artitude did it. They've got Man-Eater, which is a £20 palette, which I really, really wanted, but then I wasn't sure if I wanted it because every other palette after that is in that £16 format. So I wasn't sure, but I did end up getting it. Have I even touched it yet? No, but I do have it. And then this is the same thing that Beauty Moon have done. So it's £16, £16, and then this one is £20. And maybe it's because they wanted to be able to do a bit more with the colour story, and with it being limited edition, maybe that's why they've bucked the trend, so to speak. I'm not sure. The palette itself is $39.99. There's a pigment bundle which is $18.99. The Mistleglow highlighter palette, and that's £21. There are 3 lipsticks, I believe. They are £10 each. And then you can get the full collection for £101.98. The lipsticks look interesting. And for a tenner each, that's not bad. I might look at those lipsticks again. But yeah, really it's going to be probably the palette if I get anything. Would I get it now? I think it's almost one of those things where anything that's newly released now, it's perhaps unlikely to be included in a Black Friday sale, but I'd rather spend my money on Black Friday bits, and then anything that's new now that's not included, pick that up later. So I'm going to bookmark Mistleglow, and I say that it's because it's got a time limit. It's not going to be around forever. It's a limited edition Christmas palette. But if it sticks around until maybe January, maybe I could pick it up then. But it's not top priority. Let me see what's in this Monolith drop and included in the sale. See how many pennies that's going to tot up to. And then we can revisit Mistleglow. I wonder if Mistleglow is the main thing here that I'd want to get. Like yeah, thinking of everything else, they're all more sort of hypothetical. But Mistleglow, I'm going to bookmark that for another time. And then last but by no means least, and I do feel like this is going to be shorter than normal, which is possibly a relief. It might be, yeah, it's going to be easier for editing, Gem, for sure. Mob Beauty and Courtney Quarantine have done another collab, and it's the Reverie collection, and it's like a 4-pan interchangeable palette. The Mob Beauty do those pans, and you can chop and change, but it's $58 for 4 shades. Have you tried Mob Beauty? Is it worth it? I've been eyeing some of their lipsticks. So Courtney Quarantine and Not Another Hannah have both got lipsticks with Mob Beauty. And I think there's one from each and a lip liner that I'd genuinely be interested in picking up. And I've had them sitting in my basket from Beautylish. I don't know why I didn't just order them at the same time I ordered the Danessa Myricks Lightwork 7 palette. They've been in the basket that long. I think they've even been a drop in the price, and I still haven't bought them, and I don't know why. Maybe I think I've been waiting to see if there's anything else from Mob Beauty that comes out that I might want, so I can buy it all together. But I don't think I'm willing to pay £58 for 4 shades. That's a lot of money, isn't it? What's in these shades? Why are they so expensive? If you've tried Mob Beauty, let me know what you think of their shadows. I don't know that any of their shadows have really caught my eye. As I say, it's definitely mainly like the lipsticks. But I would be curious to know if you've tried the eyeshadow formula and if you think the quality is good enough to justify an almost $60 price tag. That seems bonkers to me, bonkers. And the thing is, with this Mob Beauty mini collection, I don't think any of that appeals to me. Again, maybe, I don't know if Deandra would get this in PR, if she'd swatch it. But there was a live the other day between, I'm not sure who the person is from Mob Beauty, if she's someone who works in the lab or the actual owner or whatever it might be. But she was on a live with Courtney Quarantine, and they were kind of discussing the creative process behind it and doing a few swatches. And I think the only one that really appeals to me, shade-wise, in that quad is Whimsy, which is of no surprise to me because it's purple. It's a purple tone shade, and it's got this quality to it where you can apply like a decent layer and it pops, but you can sheer it out and just get like sort of a different tone to it. And I appreciated that from the shade Whimsy, but I just don't know if it's worth like $60 odd. That seems excessive. And the other thing that's part of the collection is a Peptide Drench Cushion Lip Gloss, and that's $24. And yeah, that's everything I captured. It seems a bit light this week, but I don't know, that's kind of a relief. Maybe they're slowing down because I mean, I guess they know the mentality. If you're anything like me, and the fact I've just said that new releases you're almost glossing over now because you're saving your money for the sales. I think the only like new release I'm likely to be picking up anytime soon is the Christmas drop, Kindle marked, from Nomad Cosmetics, because that's going to be 30% off in Cyber Monday. Is there anything from there that you're going to pick up? Is there anything that you've ordered that's on its way to you? I'm quite grateful, to be honest, that was a bit of a lighter week. It's nice to have a bit of a breather and to not feel that you want everything. It's quite nice to have a period of time of seeing these new releases where you're not racking everything up that you would like to buy and mentally tallying it up and thinking to yourself, I'm going to bankrupt myself. That's quite a relief. I don't know what my filming schedule is going to be like for the rest of the year, because work is kicking my butt. I'm going to be travelling for work. I'm going to be travelling around Christmas. I'm going to see what I can do. Maybe I'll be posting, maybe I won't. I don't know. But I'm hoping that in the new year things will settle down, like life in general settles down. I'm hoping it settles down, because I'm not going to lie, I'm exhausted. I'm really, really tired at this point. This has been a year. It has been a year. So I'm pretty drained. I have ideas for my channel. I have ideas. But I don't know, it's one of those, I want to almost wait to implement them until I'm a bit more settled. So fingers crossed for January being that time when life takes its foot off the gas a little bit and gives me a break. That would be delightful. But back to new makeup. Let me know what you're getting, if anything. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. And I also hope to see you again in a video in a not too distant future. Take care. Bye.